You know those days when if anything can go wrong, it will? Yeah, well, let's see if I can't get through this with the help of my trail angels. Hey everyone, it's Jo. I'm the Kosher Ninja, and we've been chatting about my adventure last year hiking on the Shvil Israel, or Israel National Trail. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you've stopped by, and while you're here, go check out my videos from the Shvil, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. But right now, we're going to talk about trail angels. I have to start by apologizing. One of my big regrets is not having taken pictures or video with my trail angels. So unfortunately, I don't have any to share with you. There were a few reasons for this. Certainly, number one was it felt a little awkward since I'm new at this whole YouTubing thing. And I also wanted to protect their privacy. At the same time, I didn't even get pictures for my own purposes because, frankly, by the time I'd get to the trail angels, most of my time went into organizing for the next day and getting a shower and maybe charging my phone and relaxing a bit, as well as actually sharing with the trail angels about my adventure. So there wasn't really a whole lot of time or energy left to even really think about taking pictures or video. So I'm really sorry about that. Next time I will do better, I promise. But getting down to business. Aside from your gear, navigation tools, and access to water and resupply, your two most important resources on the Shvil will be trail angels and tramps. We'll talk about tramps another time, but today we're talking about trail angels. So who are trail angels? They're not big winged creatures dressed in dazzling white standing along the trail to guide and protect hikers. Although there may be some of those too, I just didn't actually see any. Trail angels are kind, generous people who live along or near the Shvil, who support the Shvil and want to help those who are taking on this challenge. Some of them have actually done the Shvil themselves and know what you're going through, or they have a family member or close friend who's done it and who's inspired them to become a Malach HaShvil. On the US trifecta, trail angels will sometimes open their homes to hikers, but mostly they tend to be associated more with trail magic and logistical support, so rides into town and that kind of thing. In Israel, on the other hand, trail angels primarily are people who have opened their homes or properties to Shvilistim, either purely out of the goodness of their hearts or for a nominal contribution towards some of their expenses. Some are on a kibbutz, where the whole community has decided to support hikers by setting aside a room or two dedicated to Shvilistim, and one or two members of the kibbutz volunteer to manage the room. There is one official list of trail angels, and it can be found through the preface to the Red Book, and I'll also put the link down below. This list is maintained by the trail angels themselves and should be reasonably up to date. It provides names and numbers and a brief description of what kind of support each of the angels is prepared to provide. The INT app has great potential for providing access to this kind of information and resource, but unfortunately it's not updated and is already quite out of date. So depending on the trail angel, they can offer a variety of different kinds of support for Shvilistim. Some will let you sleep on a couch in their home. Others have a tent or cabin you can stay in, and yet others will let you pitch your tent in their yard. The most common hiker needs are a place to charge your phone and a shower. And most angels will have some way to meet these needs. Some will even let you do laundry or offer you a meal. And some will provide a ride to and from the trailhead as well, which is very helpful, especially if their home is a little bit farther from the trail. But if you have a specific need, you should check the list or with the angel when you call them. Don't leave it until you get there and then you find out you don't have access to laundry, for example, when you really, really need it. Hikers have different approaches to trail angels. Some want to stay at a trail angel everywhere they can, and there are certainly valid reasons for this. It's a great way to meet people, especially if you're a foreigner, and to share your enthusiasm for the Shvil. Others want to avoid trail angels or tramps altogether for various reasons, but often because they feel it's taking advantage. And one of my hiker buddies felt very strongly about this. This was my original plan too, partly because I didn't want to take advantage, but partly because I also wanted to be able to say that I had faced this challenge on my own. In the end, I decided to go with trail angels where it worked out. There were a couple of reasons for this. So while I was planning, I was told the angels would be highly offended if they heard I was out and about and hadn't stayed with them. Not sure if that was because of the foreigner thing or the solo woman at 50 thing. Either way, one of my main reasons for doing the Shvil was to share my journey and my love for Israel with Israelis. So not to stay with trail angels would have kind of defeated this purpose. I still did it on my own, but I also did need both moral and logistical support, like charging my phone. So I was very grateful for the angels, and the showers were a treat. Two of my angels actually deserve special mention. Some trail angels become mentors, cheerleaders, and even Shvil psychiatrists. Yehuda and Aryeh, you really went above and beyond with your support for me personally and your belief in my Shvil journey at critical points, even when I wasn't so sure I believed in it myself. So toda rabba rabba. As for taking advantage, trail angels have voluntarily opened their homes, so accepting their hospitality is not taking advantage. However, it is important to respect your hosts. After all, they don't have to do any of this, but they've opened their home or their property and usually are taking time from their busy schedules to meet you and make you feel comfortable. Which brings us to the third type of hikers. These are rare, but rumor has it that they have been spotted on the Shvil. There are people who don't respect the Shvil community or the trail angels who've opened their homes to them. Reported sightings have generally been of young, immature specimens who do everything from leaving the place a mess to calling every trail angel in an area and then just going with the one that sounds best. No, don't do that. Don't be that guy or girl. If you have a special need, like for example, you really, really need to do laundry, or you need Wi-Fi to contact your family, or if the place you call is otherwise unsuitable, then sure, call someone else. But when you find someone who can provide the support you need, stop. Don't keep calling just because you think maybe someone else will have a better place or be cooler. And if you've spoken to someone else before deciding, Remember that the people you've called may have actually assumed that you're coming and changed their plans or reorganized their schedules in order to be home to meet you when you get there. And when you don't show up, that's a huge inconvenience to them. So if you're not going to come, call them back and let them know. When should you call a trail angel? The recommendations that I had read was about 48 hours before you plan to arrive, and don't call after 4 p.m. on the day. This is certainly advisable if you can, but it's not always possible. And some trail angels have been known to tell you to call back when you actually need them. A lot of times they don't even know what their schedule is going to be until that day, so often it's just better not to call them too far ahead. Second, your plans may change, or you may not be able to get as far as you thought you would on a particular day. I generally ended up calling the trail angels around midday or early afternoon on the day I was going to be there. And I found that everyone was very gracious and accommodating, and if they couldn't help, they said so, which was fine. I think it helped that this way I was able to be more concrete about my own plans, because I definitely was one of those whose plans kept changing on the fly as I adapted to the conditions. As for calling any later than 4 p.m., it's not advised, but you might run into unexpected difficulties and have no choice. I ran into a problem on Yom Kippur, for example, where I couldn't call until the holy day was over, which was around 7 p.m. And I really tried to wait as long as I could, and it was dark. But even then, I still ended up calling too early. Of course, the best thing would have been to have called before the holiday. But even as Yom Kippur was setting in, I still had no intention of staying in this particular little town. And even if I had, I wouldn't have felt comfortable calling anyone because I knew they were all busy preparing for the holy day. But then as the day wore on and I was suffering from heat exhaustion, I really had no choice but to call it a day once I arrived in this village. So if you have a good general plan like we've talked about and are able to stick to it, then certainly the more notice that you can give, the better. But because the hiking seasons on the Shvil are very well defined, the trail angels know to be expecting hikers at certain times of the year. The major challenge is the holy days, including Shabbats, which break into both the fall and the spring hiking seasons. It's very important to be respectful of people who observe these days, and we'll talk about that in another video. So to recap, trail angels are wonderful people who want to support hikers and the Shvil community by offering a place to stay and various logistical support to hikers. Accepting trail angels' hospitality is not taking advantage, and it's a great way to meet locals and share your enthusiasm for the land of Israel and for the Shvil. But make sure you respect your hosts and give them as much notice as you can, and be considerate of those who may be religiously observant. So, are you planning for the Shvil or for another trail? Did this video help you understand how trail angels can be a part of your plan? Do you still have questions? Tell me about it in the comments down below. If you've liked this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, ring the bell, and share with your friends. Also, if you've hiked the Shvil Israel and have anything helpful to add, go ahead and help out those who are planning by sharing your experience in the comments. Also, I'd just love to hear what you think. I'm so excited that we can share our journeys in this way, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Until then, Thanks for watching and shalom, eh?